Okay, in this video we're just going to briefly go over putting a new patient in. Again, you're going to start off in your dashboard, name, verifying that you are inserted into physical therapy or EAC physical therapy, which will be in this drop menu. Just do that from the get-go and you'll be pretty much set. Now from here, for us to insert a new patient, you are going to go down to charts, and in this area you'll see add patient has the orange box. Just click add patient. That'll populate or at least open up this field with some boxes that you do need to populate in order to progress on and save the patient. Now the nice thing is that the main ones that you need are starred, so you can move pretty quickly through this form. So if I wanted to name this patient, let's go ahead with B for the first name, and then we'll make this patient's last name just be Test. And then selecting the sex for the person, so let's say that this person is male. Let's give this person a date of birth of, let's pick 01/01/2001. And then for us, we won't have to worry about date of death since we'll be working with the patients. Here we are not going to be using social security numbers. We're just going to use a Practice Fusion generated actual record number. So just make sure that generate is clicked here. For the most part, if you start to type in the social security box, that's the only time that this will disappear on you. Then from there, you do have two little red stars that say you need to input a mobile phone number or an email address, or actually both of those. You're going to have patients who don't want to give you those. These actually may become beneficial for us when we start to use some of the internal functions of Practice Fusion, especially scheduling. But if they don't have that, simply click this, and that gets rid of it, so you gets rid of the need to fill these out. So don't waste too much time trying to figure that out. Just flip those two switches and you are good to go. I would recommend trying to get some sort of communication for that patient, just in case there's a need for us to close the clinic or something along those lines. And then I would also recommend that we get some sort of address for that patient, just in case we need to send information to them or whatnot. But don't worry too awful much if they don't want to give that information. But do try to get that. From there, insurance, everybody is going to be self-pay because we do not provide any billing at this stage of the game. So even if they were to have insurance, don't worry about that at this point. Just switch it to self-pay. From there, you've got the guarantor. Again, we're not going to be charging anything through EAC at this stage of the game, so that being the case, just leave this section alone. You'll get to demographics. If they want to give us the demographics, you can take that, but we're not really going to be using that information at all, so again, don't worry about that. Now you've got care team where you can add a provider. This would be nice if you know who that person is going to be seeing the first time. You could go ahead and open it up and then just search for that person's provider. Let's do test. And apparently I haven't set any of these up correctly, so you can fill this out. Again, it is not necessary, so if this becomes cumbersome, just don't worry about it, skip that part. Next of kin, I would advise you get this information, so first name, last name, and then the phone number. That way, if something were to happen in the clinic, we do have some way or someone to contact for that patient so that we can get a hold of them and let them know what's going on. We won't need the mother's maiden name, don't worry about that. For the prescriptions, again, don't worry about that. That's not something that we really have to worry on this part of the medical record. You've got appointment reminders. This will automatically send out an email or a text message depending on what the preferred method is above, if they gave us that information. So leave that in there. Right now we're not using the scheduling, so if anything, we've got it set up in the future just in case we switch that on. And then again, as far as immunization is concerned, and then the clinical data exchange, we don't really need to worry about that. So provided you have those bits of information, once you're done, you can go ahead and just click save. That'll bring you to that person's chart. So the chart is open. You'll see patient list and now B. We're on the timeline. We haven't seen this patient whatsoever. If you are just inserting the patient for the students that are getting ready to see the patient, you are done. If you are the person who is going to see the patient and you are also taking that person's initial intake information. Then from here you would just click the new encounter and SOAP node, and then from here you would progress just like the other video as far as inserting a new note. So that is pretty much the rundown for inserting the patient. Now, if we go through and you have a referral for that patient, say they came with a referral or something along those lines, there's not really a good way of putting in that referral through the intake portion or the chart creation portion. So you can do one of two things. The first one is just tell the practitioner who's going to be evaluating that patient that they need to put in that information for the patient. So any kind of added notes from outside, which if you go into that new encounter, it's going to be towards the bottom of a new encounter. You'll see attachments, and that's how that person who is going to do the actual evaluation will insert a picture of that referral. So using a smartphone or whatnot to take a picture of it to put in the medical record. So that's one way to do it. If you don't have that ability and you want to put that information in to begin with, if you go to Home, and you'll see documents at the top here. It's in the same area as your dashboard. From there, you would be able to upload a document. You would pick it from here. Once you pick that, it'll give you the option of who you want to assign it to. So that would be another way that you can get that document in there. So in general, that's all we need to know or do for inserting the information that we need for that brand new patient. All of our other forms can be inserted for the patient via the practitioner by the student practitioner that's going to be doing the documentation for that patient. So I hope that helps.